welcome to the weekly recap. I'm Matt Wacker. The Phelps County Sheriff's Department has found what they believe are the remains of JOHNATHAN SHAY, an autistic boy missing since July. The remains will undergo forensic testing to confirm the identity. SHAY wandered away from his grandmother's backyard into a heavily wooded area near St. James last summer. The remains were found Sunday night near Dry Fork Creek. A few weeks ago, we presented interviews with Lebanon's 3 mayoral candidates. Since that time, incumbent Lyle Anderson has dropped out of the race. Anderson will endorse Josh Ray as the election nears, citing Ray's training and values, as well as his newfangled approach to politics. Anderson believes Ray has the appropriate mindset to move the city of Lebanon into the 21st century. Due to outstanding warrants, over 100 arrests were made at the gates of Fort Leonard Wood last year. Warrants are discovered through scans using the Mobile Lisa handheld device or through a National Crime Information Center background check. These checks are conducted as random anti-terrorism measures or when processing a post-pass request. Most warrants discovered at the gates are for non-violent offenses, such as traffic violations or failure to appear in court. More than a dozen civic leaders and community organizers came together for a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the Phelps County Courthouse on February 16th. The ceremony was held to launch a new volunteer program in Phelps County called the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP. The program is a part of Experience Works, a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to improve the lives of older people through training, community service, and employment. The Mark Twain National Forest is currently considering public comments on a proposed helibase on forest land. With more homes and communities being built closer to the forest, officials anticipate an increased need for structure protection during wildfires. A helibase was previously maintained at the privately owned Rolla Downtown Airport, but was forced to relocate due to maintenance issues. The new proposed base would be in the forest near Yancey Mills in Phelps County. Interested and affected parties can comment on the project through March 14th, with a final decision scheduled to take place sometime in October. The St. James Board of Education has selected a new superintendent. Dr. MERLYN Johnson is the current Summersville R2 superintendent. He will occupy the position left by the retiring Joy Tucker. Johnson first started teaching at the Arkansas Department of Corrections School District in Pine Bluff, working his way through several school districts in Missouri until being hired at Summersville. Johnson will begin his duties at St. James on July 1st. With spring just around the corner, the Missouri Department of Conservation is preparing for the upcoming trout fishing season. March 1st marks the opening of catch and keep trout fishing at Missouri's 4 trout parks around the state. Each park is planning to stock 3 trout per expected angler on opening day. Over 500 people were in attendance at the 31st Annual Cancer Gala held at the Havener Center on the campus of Missouri S&T. According to committee member Robin Quards, the gala raised almost $160,000, which was donated to the Joy of Caring Cancer Fund and the Delbert Day Cancer Institute. Another committee member, Annie Bass, credits this year's increase in donations to the live auction held for the first time at the event. Attendees enjoyed dancing, having their photo taken, and bidding on a number of silent auction items. KTUI Radio in Sullivan recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. A live remote took place at the Northside Reception Hall on Clark Street, with several visitors attending. Missouri S&T recently celebrated the work of professor and filmmaker James Bogan with an art exhibit entitled 50 Years of Bogantics. Stay with us after the break for a special look at the reception, including an interview with the man himself.
Be a below-zero hero for Special Olympics Missouri athletes. Come out of winter hibernation and take a plunge in your choice of 14 different frigid bodies of water this January and February. Sponsored by your local law enforcement, the proceeds support more than 16,500 children and adults with intellectual disabilities in year-round sports training and competitions throughout the state of Missouri. To find out how you can get involved, visit somo.org/plunge. So go get your family and friends together and take the plunge to make a difference in an athlete's life today.
I'm here with Dr. Jim Bogan. Jim, tell me, what is the most memorable experience that you had in 30 years of teaching?
In 30 years of teaching, My most memorable experience. Funny, my memory is failing me now, but there was a time I took a boatload of students from Westminster Pier in London up to Greenwich, and we had a very good time going up and a very good time going back. But an early years, I taught writing. Limit the topic, be specific. That's what I taught. And I was making the point about being specific, and I hit my fist on the desk in the old metallurgy building the same exact moment. True, a sonic boom happened. A couple of guys went down on their knees in the back row, and I jumped straight up in the air. So the timing was, I didn't make that up.
Well, I know you're teaching Antics Are Legendary, and I think you've got a lot of fans as students, but I know you've traveled extensively. What is your favorite place in the world and why?
You mean after Moonshine Hollow in the Ozarks?
Well, that's fair, but your second favorite. How's that?
Well, there's Mackinac Island. There's Mackinac Island that has no cars and is in Lake Huron. There's the Evora Peninsula of Ireland, where I got to do an artist retreat for 6 months of my life, and another place, great place to work. The ocean's there, next stop Boston, and it was an artist colony, so being surrounded by the artists was extremely, it made me do things. It made me paint that mural over there, which I'd never been a painter before, but I was surrounded by painters and I painted.
So you think
Ireland goes way up there too.
Kind of expanded your life.
Oh, it sure did, and it made me work hard.
What would you say is your favorite project?
You got really hard questions here. My favorite project, well, the movie The Adventures of the Amazon Queen. I spent 12 years making this movie. I mean, I was doing other things, but it meant I had to go back to the Amazon about every other year and shoot another film, shot on 16, shoot another 30 minutes, 60 minutes of film over and over again until finally I thought, well, I got to finish this thing, and did, with the help of Ryan Wiley, who's around here somewhere, who edited it for me. So that meant I got to hang out on boats in the backwaters of the Amazon. And the Amazon, the tributaries, like the Little Piney around here, is way more interesting than the Mississippi River. Great river, the Mississippi, but not as fascinating as the mighty Little Piney.
So, all right, you were telling me earlier this is a very interesting piece of jewelry.
Not jewelry.
Not jewelry?
Not jewelry.
So tell me what it is and what it's about.
String and some tar, and it was given to me by a great good friend in Brazil who had lived with an indigenous tribe in the upper Amazon for 6 months. And the guy that gave it to him won the marathon through the jungle, different tribes, and they would wear this. It's very simple, and I've actually seen them in museums, and this is what they look like. So it is a symbol of, it is a collar, it is a it is an ornament, it is neckwear that is not a tie, that is about endurance. And
so the winners would wear them?
The winner would get it. And so I'm the third hand that it came down to, but I put a knot in it every time something like this goes on.
You have a lot of knots there.
Well, lots of kids. I got to retire. I tied a knot when I retired. I tied a knot when I survived the flooded Merrimack River at night in a blizzard with a full moon. And I tied a knot in it that night too.
Well, that is interesting and it's beautiful. We look forward to hearing what you have to say tonight.
Thank you so much.
Matt, Dr. Jim Bogan.
Professor Bogan's exhibit will be on display at Leach Theater through May. From all of us here at the Weekly Recap, I'm Matt Wacker. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.